Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna see all the different implementations of list, and it's gonna be very important because we will be going into more detail and more advanced topics, right? Usually when people talk about list, they just say that okay, the primary difference is array list is dynamic whereas array is fixed length, and they only know this. But there are different types of implementations, and of course these implementations are used as and when required, but we should be knowing all of them from a knowledge perspective so that we can stand out in the interviews, right? So now let's talk about array list. Like you know, array list is a dynamic array, and we can basically store as many elements as we want, and we also saw the implementation last time and the different operations that can be done. However, we should know one primary difference between array list and linked list is that array list is known to retrieve values. Like it will basically be very fast at getting value. Like if you have a list and there are 10 elements, if you want to get a value fast, array list is more preferred. Whereas if you want to insert any items faster, insert and delete items faster, then we use linked list. So this is the primary difference. Okay. So if you want to get items fast, it will be array list. If you want to add or delete items fast, it will be linked list. And if you want to, it will be vice versa. In case if you want to add, it will be slower in array list. If you want to get, it will be slower in linked list. So this is something that you need to know. Then the other thing is the default capacity is usually 10. So this is sometimes asked in the interviews, okay, what is the default capacity of an array list? So it is 10 elements. Okay. So let me talk about how the internal working, like the internal architecture works. So basically what happens is you have an empty array first, and then basically you will be adding elements to it. Now all of a sudden what happens is when the default value gets full, 10 gets full, then it will create a new array with more capacity, and it would typically be 1.5x of the old size, and it copies all elements into this. So this is something that you should know. If you say all these things in the interview, it will add a lot of value. Okay. Now and also why is it slow in terms of adding or removing elements is because it maintains the insertion order, and basically it will iterate through each element to ensure to reach to the final element, right? So there is no technique in which you can directly reach to that element. So since it requires shifting elements and adding and removing it, that's why it's typically slower. Okay. Now linked list, you know the primary difference. It is called a doubly linked list, and I'll tell you why it is called like that. But the main benefit here is to fast insert and remove elements. Okay. And especially at the ends, right? If you want to add something in the middle, it will take more time, but it will be still faster than array list. Okay. And if you want to retrieve any item like get something, then basically you will just use array list instead of linked list. Okay. Now let's talk about the architecture. Linked list, basically it has nodes. Okay. So each element will behave like a node, and it will have the data of that node. It will have the previous node and the next node. So basically that's why it is called doubly linked, because it is linked to its previous and next element, and it has the head and the tail. The list maintains references to the head and the tail. That's why when you insert and remove these elements, it will basically access the like it will reach to that index faster because it has the nodes as well as the head and tail reference. So this is how the internal architecture is. So these points are very important. If you speak all this, the interviewer will have confidence in your knowledge and will appreciate that. Okay. Now the next is vector. Vector is a legacy implementation, and basically vector was a synchronized version of array list. What is synchronized? In the previous sections I have told that synchronized is something wherein if you have parallel executions in place, so you would prefer a synchronized implementation, so that things are not overridden when multiple threads are using the same implementation. So wherever parallel implementation is done, we use synchronized related operations. So vector, the main use was vector, but it's a legacy implementation. It's not used anymore. But now what is used is copy on write array list. Okay. So this is, instead of vector, we are using this now, and all the implementations are exactly same. There's no problem at all. Now you just need to know this from an implementation perspective. It's very similar to what array list and linked list is. It's just similar, but from a knowledge perspective, you should know all this. The last one is stack. Now what happens is basically subclass, it is a subclass of vector, and it follows last in first out. Now what do I mean by last in first out? So basically, say for example you add 3 elements. Okay. Your 3 elements would be A, B and C. Now when you remove an element, the last element would be removed. C would be removed first, and then followed by B and then A. So that is what is meant by last in first out. Okay, so let's see some examples in terms of how to implement ArrayList. I had already mentioned how to create an ArrayList. Let's quickly see that as well. Okay, so you know that all the methods of add, so different methods are there. I want to remove index 1. Okay, similarly, if you want to create a linked list, again it's gonna be the same. Okay, so this is how I will import this. See, the methods are almost same, so I am not going to show it again. It's all same. The only difference is what I already explained before. Okay, now in case of vector, again it would be same only. Okay, so if I hover, I can import this, and again vector would have the similar kind of operations. Now why was vector used? It is because it is a synchronized array list. Okay, it's synchronized. Now one important thing is, we were talking about stack. Okay, so let's do a stack. Okay, let me import stack. Okay, we have this. Now stack will have, say for example, we will be pushing elements. Okay, now let me just print this stack and see what is being returned. So it stores these elements. Now I told you about LIFO, last in first out, right? So let me pop out elements and then print. So if you see this, so the last element was popped out. So this is what last in first out means. Okay, so the reason why I'm showing all this is so that you have a broader scope of knowledge in terms of answering questions in the interview. So usually when people say that, okay, what are the different types of list implementations, then we only say array list and linked list mostly, but you should be knowing other things as well, so that this gives more confidence. Okay, now another important point is, all the array list all the list implementations will allow duplicates. Okay, so for example, if you say over here, let me add Arun again. I will add Arun again. Okay, and let me print this out as well so that you can see. Okay, so if you see Arun, test Arun. Okay, because of course we removed the first element and that's why it's showing duplicate elements are allowed. Now the other important thing is, it will also allow null values. So let me do that as well. Okay, and let's print that. So it should add null value as well. So of course, since it adds duplicate, so it can add multiple null values. So this is how you have to play around and basically see what different things can be done through a list. And since you know all these operations, it would be more easy for you to build a logic and create a program or implement certain things in your automation framework. Okay, so it allows duplicate and it allows null value. This is same for all of them. All of the list implementations allow duplicate and allows null values. So that's all for today. If you have any questions, please post your questions in the comment box and I will answer to that. And what I want everyone to do is also play around with an editor and also see what are the different options that are there. How can you manipulate data? How can you add new data? How can you play around with it and explore on your own, so that you feel very confident. And in terms of interview, make sure that you're using pen and paper as well, because you might not have an editor always to see like what all options are available. If you click and then see, you won't have that options. So you might have to say all these methods in the interview, or maybe you might have to write them down, or you might have to do it in a Word document. So be prepared for that. And that's all for today. See you in the next one. Thank you so much.